Happy Thursday, everybody. So good to have you with us. Here we are. 2 weeks has gone really fast, and we're really, really pleased to be back with you. Hello to everybody who's joining us. Hello to people. If you're watching on catch up as well, we forget that some of you are doing other things. So if you're watching on catch up, hello. Really good to have you with us.
And we have Natalie.
How are you doing, everybody?
Hello, right. So good to be here.
So Natalie, a new face. We're the Three Musketeers. We're complete. Our trio is complete. We missed you last time.
Oh, I missed you guys too. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this week. And my favourite topic, the paranormal.
Brilliant.
Well, exactly. So we got to introduce ourselves 2 weeks ago, and so the viewers and people watching at home know a little bit about us. But Natalie, you're a new face. You're a new face. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so where do I start? So I think like my spiritual journey started when I was about 11 years old, and I don't know, suddenly the paranormal started to come into my life on one thing or another, going on many different spiritual awakening journeys. And then I went through obviously some difficult times in life. The spiritual world came back in many, many more times. And then I've come to realise it was actually 2020, I think. I went through another difficult stage in life, and then I started getting more closer to spirit. I started having dreams where loads of messages then start coming through my dream states. It wasn't more obviously in face to face. It was more like when I was going to sleep. I did a white flame healing, which then connected me more to like the divine side of things. And then every time I'd go to sleep, I'd start getting more images in my dream state. So it's things like I was being shown Akashic records or like the veils and things like that. So and then I'd start going on more things, and more spiritual people started then coming more into my life. Like I was working in one place, and suddenly it was just like, okay, I want to try something new. And then the new job that I went to, it had this big spiritual group that was in it as well. So then I've connected more of that, and then I've gone on to do Reiki. But it's only since around about like 2020. But what I'm aware of, there's a lot more people that went into awakening, which I obviously heard about. They went into it in maybe in about 2012 time. But then there was another group of us that started waking up a bit more in 2020. So yeah, so that's a bit about me. And it all started more, I was interested in the paranormal, which is why, yeah, my favourite topic tonight. That's where it all really started for me. But yeah.
Love
Brilliant.
that. It's so
Brilliant.
Good to have you with us. So good to have you. And Wendi, you're excited to talk about our topic this evening. It's good to see
you. Thank you. And well, both of you too. It's really good. And shall we say some hellos?
Yes.
Serendipity, hi.
Hi, Serendipity. Oh, and Jade. That's my niece.
Jade. Love that. Oh, Jessie, now you've got
Jessie.
Your fan base in already.
My family is coming, yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. Oh, hello, Mitzi.
Hi to you.
It's good to have you with us.
Elizabeth Jones from South Wales. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry. The tea ready.
Love that. Really nice to have you with us. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Thank you for joining us. Come on in. Come on in.
Marie. Hi, Marie.
All the way from Canada.
Wow. Wonderful. Hello. Chris.
Hi, Chris. From Michigan.
Wow.
Amazing. Wonderful. I wonder what time is it there with you, Chris, in Michigan? It's really good to have you with us.
Nadina. Hello to you.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Casey Tanner.
Oh, look, with your little bubba.
Yeah. Chambo. Oh, MJC Chambo.
Hello.
Matt.
That's Matt. Hello, Matt.
Matt from Kent.
Matt.
Love that. Brilliant. Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
Good to have you with us.
Oh, Penny.
Hi, Penny.
So this is Penny from the spiritual group that is actually at my work. But you know Penny as well, don't you?
I know Penny as well. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's my Reiki master, Penny.
Oh, wonderful.
Penny, you're a legend in your own lunch break. It's good to have you with us. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry. My name's pronounced like Marilyn. Oh,
Marilyn. Oh,
wow. I'm going to write that down just in case we get drawn to you, Marilyn.
Chris Blondell from Hailing Island.
Hello, Chris. Really good to have you with us.
Independent
Hello,
puppy.
Independent Puppy, whatever your name
That's
is.
a good
Hello.
name.
Yeah.
Really good to have you with us. And it's really good to say hello to people on YouTube as well. So not everyone is watching on Facebook. Some people are watching on YouTube. So please do check out both channels.
Susie Selby. Hi to you, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Melvin Peters.
Hello, Melvin. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. We're going to have a good evening.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Brenda Caroline Morris from Essex.
Brenda from Essex. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Good to have you with us.
My world.
My world.
Hello. I know anyone on YouTube. Can we tell if people are watching on from the app as well? Does that come up separately? Can we tell? Is anyone watching on the app? So hello from anyone who's watching on the app. We can't see your comments, but hello on the app as well.
Hi, Wendi Watson from Australia. That's it, folks. Share. And watch us on TikTok. Is wanting
hey, Kelsey.
1,000, I think, followers to go live. So yeah, follow on TikTok.
You can follow on, if you follow on TikTok, then if we hit a certain level, then we'll be able to live stream on TikTok as well. So it will literally be able to go all over, be on all channels. So do follow us on TikTok as well.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
There's
and another Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Beautiful.
Hey.
Oh, hello to anyone we don't get to, but please do keep commenting and liking and sharing.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, comment and share, please. That would be wonderful. So
amazing. So Wendi, do you want to talk?
Well, I mean, it's going to be like that, isn't it? When you sat in a like Richard said, you're in a coffee shop, you just have to, you do all talk over each other. So that's how it's going to be. Paranormal, that's what we felt that we would like to talk about. And I feel it's Natalie's field. So it's a welcome.
They were being nice to you on the first week, Natalie.
Being nice to you.
It's like,
But what are your experiences? I mean, like when I was growing up, we had just ghost stories, you know. Somebody always had a ghost story, and it was that element of feeling scared. You know, it's the strangers, it's the ghosts, the strangers in the buildings that we don't know of, not our loved ones, that I feel like, oh, who is this person? You get this energy, don't you? You get this feeling of somebody around, or you get these gadgets and things go off and whatever. So I've never been paranormal hunting myself. Have you? What are your experiences? And Natalie, I believe you have. So tell us your stories.
Okay, so I don't know. I think I've always been into the paranormal. Like I said, when I was about like 11 years old, like even back then when you were kids, you never had equipment, did you? No. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I think you used to like say, "Oh, let's see if we can hear some noises, or let's call out and see what we get back." Yeah. Or I remember like my first experience. I think I'm going to sound really old now, but we used to have like the old cordless phones. Do you remember them? You know, like
we remember when they had cords, Natalie.
Yeah. But you remember when the cordless phones came out, and it had like a little base to sit on, and so you could take it off, and obviously, you know, you'd walk around the house with it.
And I remember aerial thing.
Yeah. God, it was huge, wasn't it? You walk around the house with this big phone. Yeah. So I remember like in my old house, then we had obviously we had the base, and the phone was then, I don't know, it was somewhere else in the house. And like if you lost the phone, like I don't know, you put it down somewhere, you then had to press a button on the cordless system to try and find your phone again. So anyway, so I remember being in the house, and it started going off on its own. And we were like, why is it doing that? And like we weren't even like pressing the button. So I remember them saying, okay, like I think I was with family or whatever at the time. I said, okay, so if there's anybody here, then press the button, like let us hear it going off. So then it did it again. So like this time, like my family were getting like really freaked out, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing, like family members, running out the house. Oh my god, our house is haunted. But I wasn't scared, So that's why I was just like, oh, like this is really intriguing me. And I remember as well, like in the same house, it was quite a really old house actually, I remember. But I was laid in in my room. I had a teenager then at the time. I had my friend that she came round. And I remember we were just laying there. We weren't even talking about anything, like we were just chilling out for the evening. And then my bedroom door, I mean, the light, we must have had like a lamp on or something, but my bedroom door was like half open, half closed. And then I remember the door like slowly opening, and there was a shadow of like a woman with a bun in her hair that was it was like because the landing light was on, so it was kind of like shining on, like, you get like the little alcove walls. And I remember so it was on there, and like it's like a woman there, and I was just like, I shouted down to my sister, I was like, oh, like, go away, I know it's you. And then she shouted from downstairs, like, what? And we were just like, oh my god, like ran out of the building then. But yeah, so that was like when it really first started for me. I remember then at the age of, I think I was around about 16, I lost someone actually really quite close to me in a car accident. And so then after that, obviously we didn't, I don't know, I just think you go into like a little healing progress, don't you, after that? So then I think I was always still intrigued, but then I went and worked for a museum at the age of 30, and it's quite a well-known haunted museum. And we had people coming in saying, oh, do you do paranormal investigations in here? So then I said to my manager one day, oh, can we set up some paranormal investigations? And then I had one of my other colleagues, they were just like, yeah, let's do it. And he had done some before in the past, so I had someone who knew what they were doing. And then so then we set up a paranormal investigation group at the museum. And so that was it, really.
Did you get any responses? And
what, from spirits?
Spirit.
Yeah, because one of the oldest buildings that we had there was actually it was built in 1771, so that was like a really quite old building that we had in there. And it wasn't just like during the paranormal investigations really we had things happen. It was actually, I don't know if you worked in the shop, you'd have things like fly across like the counters, and we've caught on video things falling off of shelves, when nobody's around, things being hit, people have been hit with like things. And so it was never anything like negative or anything like that. But I know a lot of if there's any paranormal investigators like local here tonight, then they'll know like what I'm talking about and the buildings that I'm talking about. But
wow. So they've been knocking at your door for a long time then.
That's
really interesting. We've already had a couple of people who are just absolutely really interested in this subject, and I know it's really interesting, Natalie, you say that was kind of like your introduction to spirit wanting to work with you and wanting to kind of communicate with you is through these unexplained events happening. And I wonder how many other people are out there have got similar kind of spooky introductions to spirit.
Definitely. I noticed the earlier post was Minty, what are our thoughts on Ouija boards? I remember I don't have a Ouija board. I think it stems from childhood when my sister and her friends did a Ouija board. I was very little. I can't remember what age it was. And I just remember creeping downstairs for some reason, wanted to know what they were doing, and peeked through into the dining room, and the glass, they didn't even have their hands on it. The glass was moving on its own. Those were the days when you didn't have the, whatever you call the little thing. You just planchette. It was the glass and letters, and it was just moving on its own. I was petrified. And I think probably since then, and taking on board other people's sort of views, that you don't know who you're letting in, you've got to know what you're doing, you've got to close it down, and it's always terrified me, really. So, but what are your views? Have you used one?
So no, well, oh, sorry, go Nat.
No, go on, carry on.
So I have so it was called a spirit board. It's ostensibly the same thing as a Ouija board. I suppose I'm coming from a really different angle than you two ladies, because I came into spiritualism and into my interaction with spirit because I used to sit in a physical circle, which is very unusual. So for us, the paranormal wasn't called the paranormal, it was called physical phenomena. And it was something we were actually sitting to develop in the red light in a closed circle. So I've never really been interested in the paranormal because we had far more exciting things happening every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock in our seance room. So I've never really been that into the paranormal, but I have used a spirit board before. It was an interesting experience, but I'd much rather work with spirit directly. But I know for some people it's a really, really useful way of kind of communicating for some people. I've got my own reservations about it, but each to their own in this world.
Yeah, I mean, it's the curiosity for me. Say I don't use the spirit board, but all the other things and the gadgets, and I do watch. Well, I record nearly everything and watch them, and some I'm going, really, but some I think, well, actually, you've got a point. I don't think you could fake that. So yeah, I do like watching all the programs and all the gadgets, and certain gadgets I like the ones where, and I don't know what you call it, where he types into it and it types back a response. I find that fascinating. You know, can't remember what program it was. Natalie, what device is this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm like, the only ones that I've normally used is I've done like glass divination. I haven't used letters in it. I know that some people do, but when you do stuff like that, you've got to really trust who you're working with. And I use the spirit box. That's my go-to thing, and my EMF reader. That's in my box. That's in my ghost box.
Yeah,
I know there's so much other equipment out there that you can use,
know.
isn't there? But it's amazing
Yeah.
stuff. And they're building stuff all the time as well, bringing in new stuff, which
it's always really, and the thing I would always say though, and I love that people go off and do these kind of experiments, but I think there's nothing better than having a really good medium that you trust, that actually is kind of proved that they have a really, really good connection to spirit, who's able to verify. Because I'm quite a scientific person, and you know, I like to be able to do a little bit of triangulation with stuff, so I won't take it on face value if I experience it like that. I'd quite like to have a historian to then come in and say, actually, we can verify that, you know, this happened and that happened, or this is in the records of the building, and then have a medium who's verifying that again independently. I think with all of this stuff, you've got to keep your feet on the ground, keep a really, you know, open mind to the possibility. But you know, you need to have that level of practicality in this, don't you?
And I like the fact that the ones that you know, sort of help them cross over, because there's a lot that just taunt. I don't like that. I like the ones that actually help them cross over to the light, and it just feels like, you know, in the sage the house and things like that. So I like that part of it. Serendipity is asking, what are ghosts? Are they spirits trapped? I suppose it varies. What is the ones where they're actually in the building? You know, this you know, they say about
poltergeist energy.
They keep replaying events. Because there's the spirits and ghosts, aren't they? So I should have got my facts ready, but what do you call it now? The ones that, you know, like they say the soldiers, and you keep seeing the repeats of those energies.
I think they're probably classed
like
as like ghosts, aren't they? And spirits are more the ones that have, like, you like to think like your family members have gone over, but then they come back and visit every now and again. So the spirit and the ghosts, I think, are the ones that are more earthbound.
It's something like residue, that, Richard. Residual energy. Yeah.
See, I've always called them echoes, primarily because in my mind, and as a little girl, I kind of likened it to because I know we had echoes because we lived in like a 16th century farmhouse, and there were loads of stuff that happened, and we were really close to military sites, so there was loads of stuff that happened. And really regularly, we had a farmer or a soldier, I don't know who he was, but he had, because through the kitchen window, which was below the height of the pavement at the back, it was really strange. you could hear him walking along the gravel in his boots that went up to his knees that looked like riding boots or army boots. And so I would call that an echo.
Yeah.
Because he'd obviously done that so many times, and it's a bit like an echo. When you shout, you hear the reverberation. You're not physically saying it over and over again, but it's the reverberation coming back. And that was the only way I could make sense of it in my mind, because I knew spirit, and I know when I have a consciousness that I can interact with, when there's an intelligence there, but then there's other things which are more like an echo. But I don't know whether that's
that would make sense, because it's something about the stone tape theory, which is something about the silica in the walls, and it's, you know, like a cassette tape which keeps replaying. It's something to do with that, because I was fascinated when I read a book about that stone tape theory and this silica that retains memories. And he actually found some scientific evidence that this silica is actually good for Alzheimer's as well. You know, the silica tablets. So I was there. I went straight to Holland and Barrett and got a load of these silica tablets. But yeah, it is fascinating. Joanne's put a message on. We did a Ouija board. I can't see the end of the
He said we did a Ouija board in our shop late at night because of happenings over time in the shop, but no, it frightened you to the core. I'm not surprised, Joanne, to be fair. There's something about doing it when you're in a heightened state.
Sorry, Richard. Thank you. I think it's because it's in the middle and I've just got a column of oars at the side. Nearly there. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. I can see everything now. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, I can
see you loud and clear now, Joanne.
I can read.
You know what really amazes me as well is when you know, when you say people are seeing, oh, I don't know, why am I seeing like a ghost like walk through the walls, and why the ghosts like look like they're floating in the ceiling, and they say in that as well, like maybe in the past that's where stairs were, or maybe that's where a door was. You know, so that's really interesting, isn't it?
Fascinating, isn't it? I was at a hotel many years ago, and they didn't say the room was haunted, but I physically saw the light switch go on and off on its own, and I kept seeing it, and I wasn't frightened. I felt quite calm. And then I went down to breakfast and I asked, was this room haunted? She said, oh, yeah. So I thought, oh, you didn't tell us. So I remember I know, it was extra. I remember getting in the car, and a husband got out of the car, and the locking door thing. I can't get my words out to that. Them things on your doors. They're like, it was just going down, up, down, up. It was like locking me in and then unlocking me all the time. And I thought it was him messing about, but he'd left the key in the car, so it wasn't. So I felt I'd brought it with me, actually. Whatever it was, it was doing the things like going up and down.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, we're really used to it in our house because we have stuff happen all the time. I've got a particular vase, which is quite a big vase, and if you knock it, it makes a really hollow ringing noise. And so often in our house, my husband and I are having a conversation about something, and then all of a sudden you get like a ping on this vase, and I say, see, even my grandmothers are agreeing with us, and my husband's not into this at all. He's happy to support me in anything I want to do, and you know, various places I'm going to go, but he's really not into it. So that's enough to kind of end a conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, oh no.
So thank you, everybody. Please share and give us your experiences, or if anybody would like to come on board and perhaps get a reading from one of us, you know, if you want to join us on Zoom, because we will be doing some readings. But please let us know what you think of your experiences, and
and it'd be really good to know whether this was your introduction to working with spirit and spirituality, whether actually this was your way in, because a lot of people, like Nat said really nicely, you know, spirit have been knocking on the door for many years before you kind of like step into it and then go through your awakening and start working. So whether that was your introduction. What's Penny got? Come on, Penny, always good for a good story. We had a lady come into our original healing group. She brought a Ouija board with her. I was quite nervous when she worked with us, particularly when she brought through your dad. Oh, I'm sorry, Penny. I'm sorry about your story. Okay. Wow. So you had some really good evidence. Really good evidence from her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that, Penny.
Yeah, what a lovely story. Yeah.
What makes the glass move? Melvin is asking. Natalie, I mean, well, I feel it's spirit, it's energy. We're all energy, but
It's definitely energy.
mm.
When I've done glass divination, we've always made sure that we've opened up properly to it. We do like a little opening prayer. You know, we place our fingers on the glasses, and we kind of like imagine like energy coming in through the top of our head, down our arms, and then into the glass. So we place the energy into the glass, which allows then the spirit to move the glass. As I said, obviously, previously, I think you've really got to make sure that the people that you're doing this with, that you do trust, you know, and they're not going to be playing jokes and just moving it. The very interesting one that I've had with glass divination is when doing it, you can ask people like to place their fingers lightly on it, but then when it's moving as well, turn the fingers over, because you know for a fact as well that people can't push
no downward
that
force.
way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's it. And interesting movements as well of the glass. I've seen glasses twist, you know, and you know as well that when the glass is twisting, there's no way that people can be pushing it. And a lot of interesting information as well as can't come out on glass divination. I like to use just lights, like I said before, not with with letters, but you can have like lights where they just can say like yes or no. So you could use like white for yes and red for no. So you can get it moving that way as well. Like if you feel like the energy is quite weak in the glass, we kind of ask them, we can move it around, and which then builds up the energy in the glass as well. So we get it in moving around in big circles. And then if it starts getting weak again, you then can say to them, okay, like let's get the glass moving again, and it kind of like builds up the energy of it. So that's quite interesting.
Amazing.
I think what you said was really key there, and I really loved your approach, Nat, because you were talking about having people you're working with who you trust, because you know there are people who just have a bit of hijinks with it, but also how you used you know, a process of turning your hands upside down so there's no downward force, because you know
that's really
there's an awful lot, and we just have to kind of acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is, you know, with any kind of phenomena, there's a little bit of, and we were talking earlier, weren't we, about, you know, well-known TV shows, there's a certain amount of doing it for the thrill factor, and so you've got to approach it with a really, really rational mind and be able to kind of dismiss some of the possibilities first, and we take the same approach with anything like table tilting. Which, you know, some people go crazy for table tilting, but actually we need to kind of have a look at people's individual energies, because your energy can be quite strong, your personal energy field, if you know how to use that and manipulate that. So I would always look for a sign of intelligence though. If ever I'm doing anything like that, there's a sign of intelligence to it, and that's the key for me. You know,
you quite into like the scientific side of thing. Have you tried that new essays method? Is it essays?
No, talk to us about that.
So that's like it's the ghost box, but what it is that you put a blindfold on and then you put headphones in as well, so you can't hear and you can't see what's happening. So that's a really good scientific way of doing things with the spirit box, with spirit, because it's like you've got someone, you've got to do it obviously with two people, so you can't hear or see what the person's asking, and they're asking questions and filming it at the same time. So they're asking questions and seeing what response then you get through the spirit box. So that's quite interesting. I've done that a few times.
I know what you mean. I didn't know the name for it, but
that sounds like something from like Stranger Things, doesn't it? Sounds like when she got psychic phenomena and she wears a blindfold headset. Amazing. So we would love to hear your experiences, what your thoughts are on the paranormal. We'd love to hear more about it, and whether you've used any of these tools or anything that you've come across. And does anyone sit in circle? I know you mentioned it earlier, Wendi, about does anyone sit in circle to work with spirit in this way and to try and do, we haven't mentioned rescue circles yet, but does anyone do that kind of work? Please come and get involved. We'd love to hear about that.
Melvin Peters, years ago, my hubby was renovating the floor in the old cottage we had. He turned around and the bottom of the stairs with the outline of a woman wearing a long dress, sort of Victorian style, and she couldn't have met a more cynical guy before this. And I think that is amazing, because you find that the people that don't believe, if they do see something, then it's even more validates, you know. So thank you, Melvin, for sharing that. Amazing.
Fantastic story. Thank you so much. Yeah. Kim, very we've just got to read that out if anyone's missed it. So thank you, Kim. Seen a lady hanging around my window. Problem was I was on the second floor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I said last week, I don't mind, you know, spirit. I love it all. I love it all. But please, when I'm getting ready for bed, don't pop out. Don't do any weird stuff.
and tell them. You have to tell them, because I remember I was sort of getting all this information through when I was starting to develop, and I was like, I can't cope, I can't handle this. And then it explained to me, you can tell them, just like you said, I don't want you to pop into my bedroom or the bathroom or in the middle of the night, just you know, and they will listen. They will listen.
I do have a rule, actually. You talk about the bathroom. I have a rule that no spirits are allowed to come in the bathroom. That is my rule when I'm in there.
Or a line.
Exactly. Mrs. MB, I worked in a pub and I was in the basement and heard a wee boy say my name, and that was me. I was out. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Well, that could be then like testing like your clairaudience and that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
There's a really interesting pub near me because so I live very close to Weymouth, and obviously Weymouth is quite fascinating, and Melcombe Regis is meant to be where the Black Death first landed in the UK. It came kind of ashore with the boats, and there's a pub there that's one of the oldest pubs, and actually the basement is partially underground, and they're forever having, literally like every weekday I think they've got some kind of paranormal investigation because it's so haunted. There is so much activity, especially in the basement.
Wow.
So what an amazing story. But yeah, I'd be out.
Minty
I'd be like, where's my ghost box?
Yes, you should come down now. You should come down for a weekend. Come down and come stay in Weymouth.
I'm there. Yeah.
There's loads. There's loads.
Minty says his gran taught him to use a Ouija board and other tools from the age of 8.
Amazing.
Wow.
Love that.
Wow. So gran was obviously into it big style.
Yeah.
Summer Dawson brought a Ouija board in my home, and she's had the most paranormal things happen in her home since. Wow. So Natalie, with that happening, Summer, did you do like Natalie does? Did you close it down, or is there a need perhaps? When you close these Ouija boards down, does that stop the activity?
Well, they talk about Ouija boards, don't they? Like I said, I haven't used a lot of them, but they do say you've got to open up and close it down properly. So you've got to make sure that you say goodbye. And is it the pendulum? I think that's what it's called, the Ouija board. You've got to make sure then that goes to goodbye and that closes it down properly. Always make sure as well that you're always putting obviously the white light of protection around you. You know, when it comes down to Ouija boards, then I'm not really. Yeah, I haven't used them a lot, so I'm more like a glass divination girl.
Glass divination girl.
That's your divination girl, yeah.
and don't ask me, Summer, because we don't use Ouija boards. We use knocks and raps in our seance room for physical phenomena. It's all about knocks and raps, and you kind of can get very clear answers. So very much like the kind of Fox sister approach. Yeah.
Summer says no, I had no clue what I was doing.
I mean, when I was a kid, I think I remember like friends used to make, didn't they, like Ouija boards when you were little? They're like, oh, let's make Ouija boards and go and have a go of them.
Yeah.
But there's so many horror stories I think I've heard about them. But some people, like, as long as you open them up and close them down properly, then I think they're actually harmless.
Jess's comment makes me laugh. My granddad bought a Ouija board thinking it was a normal board game for the family to play. Wouldn't that be funny? Like, okay, we've got a new game here. It's not snakes and ladders. Oh, what do we do?
But you say that, Jessie, I'm pretty sure when they first came out, they were actually produced by a board game company. I'm pretty sure they came out as a family game. But then you think about the Victorian era, which was like the pinnacle of people sitting around parlors and sitting rooms and doing tarot cards and tea leaf reading and palmistry and pendulums and Ouija boards. It was kind of a normal thing to do, and it's only since things kind of have moved on that it's and with the advent of kind of horror films and spooky movies and all of that stuff that everything's kind of moved into a different energy.
Yeah.
And Nat, you said something really interesting about kind of the new phase of awakening, and that actually people are more interested in things like light language and healing and all of those things, and maybe some of the methodologies that people used previously have kind of been relegated to the back of the games cupboard.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. I think they're getting more stronger with our paranormal equipment. Like I said, the people are building stuff all the time, aren't they? They're really trying to like extend what it is, but they're coming up with new stuff. I think like when I'm using spirit boxes and that more now, spirit is more strong. I don't know if you noticed that they are coming through more stronger and stronger every time. Like the last time that I did a spirit box, there was actually a spirit intervention during it. Without obviously mentioning any names, but we had there was a guy who took his own life, and the person that I was with, they'd obviously gone through like a really difficult time, and they wanted to get a message across to this other person that I was with, like basically like life is worth living. So I think more now as well, they're coming through to spirit intervention, and they're really trying to help people who are going through the spiritual awakening difficult times in life. So I've noticed that a bit more as well. But when I first started like with the spirit boxes, there was a lot of time like I never knew anything about spirit recovery. I don't know if you've heard about that as well, like about like you were talking about earlier, a lot of like they want help passing over, like crossing over to the other side. And a lot of the times I used to have a lot of help me coming through on the spirit box. And I went to see a medium, and I said to her, like, why does this keep happening? Why every time that I'm doing the spirit box, why are they saying like help me all the time? And then she told me about like the spirit recovery and how they need help like moving on, and whether they've got a story to tell or forgiveness, that they need to forgive themselves for something in life, just something's happened that we need to help them cross over.
It's fascinating, and we're just scratching the surface, aren't we? Really, we're just scratching the surface of all of the things that we don't know, and we're just a really, really small part of it. I just have to mention Jesse's comment, because he was talking about the Ouija board being a family game that got bought, and he thought it was a family game, and then he was convinced it got his dad was convinced it got magnets in it, making it move. And in my mind I had a vision of like the operation game where you have to try and use the tweezers to get the little things out of the opera, and then if you hit the side then it buzzes. That's just what I had.
I used to have that. You remember that little robot game? I'm sure my age here, and it used to move around, and that was all magnets, but I used to think that was magic.
It's all real. Thank you, Jessie. That was a good memory. Thank you for that. Super.
Caroline Woodward, I see a lot of shadows and hear a lot of sounds in my home. Other day I had a cat sound, and she hasn't got a cat. After that, had a lot of creaky sounds on my stairs, and everyone was asleep but me. Yeah, I get lots of sounds. Sometimes I think it's just things settling, but if you've not got a cat, now that is a different story. Perhaps there was a cat in the house before.
So Caroline, I'm really interested if you are clairvoyant, because you're obviously quite visual and you get a lot of activity. It'd be really interesting to know if you're working with your spirit team.
Clairvoyant, yeah.
Every time I think of cats as well, it makes me think of Egypt. So we talk about that before when you're in a connection with Egypt, and cats are actually quite protecting, aren't they? So maybe that is one of your spirit guides. You've got a cat that's coming in trying to protect you.
Oh wow, Wendy Watson. When my dad passed, my mum used to see him on the end of the bed, and our toilet used to flush. The bedroom door used to have a light around it, but when we opened it, the light was off. Oh wow,
Wendy, that's so lovely. And do you know what? Isn't that really beautiful that it just, if you were half asleep, you'd think that just
still around.
Pop into the bathroom at night time. That's really lovely. Oh, bless.
I hear of pets as well. You see like little clips on YouTube and whatever, where they've caught their CCTV, whatever, pets going across, at the front and whatever, and pets sort of coming in the house, because I mean pets are very much connected, aren't they? I mean pets can just feel or see. Our dog actually just certain point in the room always looks up at the ceiling, always, and there's nothing there, but
it's lovely. And we see my mum's black cat who passed the spirit maybe 10 years ago. She's always in the kitchen, and sometimes it's so real that you find yourself kind of with a plate of something and you step over it to say, oh, what do you do it? And then it's not, but it's just, she's such a strong energy. Such a strong energy coming
Oh,
through.
wow.
And so many times spirit pets come through as messages from the platform, or the animals are forever coming through, aren't they?
Yeah.
For people. It's
Yeah.
lovely. Oh, Jade's on. You're getting name checked, Natalie. You were the Ghostbuster.
She'll never, yeah, me and my partner Jissy was silly and downloaded ghost hunting equipment on our phone that brought spirits into the house. Natalie had to save us. Yes,
Yeah,
I
good
did.
on Natalie.
So can you tell us the story, Natalie? Can you, or is there not enough sage in the universe to sort that out?
Well, obviously, my niece Jade, and when I ran the paranormals at the museum that I was talking about, when we never invited people who were under the age of 16, and she turned 16, and she was just like, yeah, I want to go to a ghost hunt. So she came along, and so she got interested in it. And I remember actually in the old building that I was saying about, that was built in 1771, we were doing like a ghost box in there, and they were doing like a when you're holding hands, like calling out seance. It's not seance, is it? I can't remember what it's called.
Seance.
I think it is. Is that a seance when you're holding hands? And I remember like we were calling out on there, and Jade, bless her, she was just like, oh my God, something's touching me, I'm really scared. But when you open it, don't you say, oh, you can't break hands, you can't let go until you close it down properly. So she's like, oh my God, I'm really scared, and you can't let go. And I was just like, Jade, it's fine, nothing's gonna hurt you. And then clear as day, going through the ghost box, it went, how do you know? And that was it. It was just like, so that was her first experience of the paranormal. So I think since then she's got into it, and she thought, oh, it's okay, me and my partner are going to download our little ghost hunting equipment in our home and start calling spirits into it. Yeah, why not? So anyway, so they called me and they were like, oh, Natalie, like we've had weird stuff going on, the list of all the stuff that was going on. But I remember it was like they had a taps turning on, knocking, scratching, things like that. But people always think, oh my God, you've got stuff going on like that. It must be something like really negative. So, you just go in, and I think normally they just want attention. They just want to talk to them. They want someone to acknowledge them. Hello, I'm here. You've done this, so obviously I want to talk to you, kind of thing. So I'm not going until you talk to me. So I had to. We went in and we did the old spirit box. We found out that it was actually connected to one of our neighbours who was not there anymore, but it was the mother, and she wanted to get a message to her son. So that's all she wanted to do, was just say, look, this is going on, and she just needed to say that. So apart from that, I don't think, nothing else has really gone on. We've gone around with the sage and cleansed it all. And I was living with my niece for a good few months. So when I was there, we didn't have anything going on.
You were in the house to sort it out. Well done, Jade. I hope you don't mind that, Jade, but you did put the comment on there, so we've enjoyed the story. Thank you very much. Yeah, lovely. Story. Thank you. Really interesting question from Siobhan there. What's the difference between a clairvoyant and remote viewing? Is it the same energy? Really interesting. I don't know if you ladies have got a perspective on this one, but I know somebody who's a remote viewer, and it is a different energy. So sometimes when you get a message, sorry.
No, I was going to say, clairvoyant, clear seeing is what you experience yourself, a vision. But remote viewing, isn't this when you have to go into some form of trance and you can see other people in other rooms doing things? I don't know what you call it. Is that remote viewing?
Is that like astral projection?
So the remote viewer I know that does it is fully conscious, and it's a psychic awareness, and they're literally just exporting their energy, and they're deciding where the energy needs to go, and then they're using that, and then having a psychic awareness of what's there. And it gets really easily confused. It gets really easily confused between clairvoyance when loved ones in the spirit world are sharing memory links. So they're talking. So for example, my grandmother would talk about a red front door in a red brick house with a porch and things going around, and then the milk bottles, and you go through, and then there's the stairs going up, and then but that would be her giving a memory link of a remembrance I would have as a little girl walking into a house. It doesn't mean that the medium is a remote viewer. Does that make sense? It's a completely different vibration, different skill.
Is clairvoyance seeing spirit, and remote viewing is seeing physical people?
Or places, or where things are. So some remote viewers are used to find lost people. I
know when
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh,
no,
thanks, Richard.
I've started recently doing my readings where the tarot readings really, and they ask a question about a certain person. I can see that person. I can see their mannerisms, their physical. There's, I don't even know what you call that. Is that remote viewing? Oh, this is my daughter.
Oh,
Danny,
Oh,
I've got
hello,
far too many
Danny.
ghost stories to share. How are you feeling, Danny? She's quite poorly today.
Yes, Danny. See,
remote
11 from
viewing.
Stranger Things. I mentioned her earlier. Exactly it.
Well done, Dan. Oh, you're watching. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So interesting that. Okay.
So Caitlin, that's really interesting. Okay, so Caitlin said, I lost my mum last year. I'm really sorry, Caitlin. And I feel like she hasn't given any signs. Is it because I'm not spiritually connected? As I do believe in it, but I think a part of me is nervous of it, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, absolutely.
Yeah, probably not ready. It's still grieving.
Yeah.
Grief.
I think sorry, carry on.
I was just about to say really quickly, Spirit once said that grief is like a fog. That when you're in really deep grief, you're processing the grief so much that it's very difficult for Spirit to come through. But I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. But yeah, sometimes the signs, they're probably doing some healing as well in the spirit world, I would say. Bless you.
Thank you, Caitlin, for that. Commercial break time, everybody. Okay,
I think we're going to hear about a new show with Adrian and Jay that's coming up. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Introducing the SPtv app, your digital spiritual guide for an enlightening journey like no other. Immerse yourself in a world of audio and visual content crafted to inspire, educate, and entertain. Seek guidance with our card of the day, choosing up to 6 cards for personal insights. Enhance your daily life with our wellness section, featuring nutritious recipes, affirmations, and balanced living tips. Explore our spiritualism section for a deep understanding of the religion, its principles, and spiritual answers. Unravel the secrets of the clairs and broaden your spiritual horizon. Easily find local readers, therapists, centers, or churches with our comprehensive directory. Stay connected with live broadcasts, check our schedule, and get to know our insightful presenters. Delve into the meanings of angel numbers, crystals, and a comprehensive list of divination meanings. All of this and more, available for free on the SPtv app. Download now at sptv.uk/app and start your journey with your digital spiritual guide.
Join Adrian and Jay tomorrow morning from 11 a.m. UK time for their show, Spiritual Insights. They'll answer your spiritual queries, conduct guided meditations, and provide oracle card readings to those who actively participate in the show. So, set your alarms and get ready to awaken your inner self.
Join Ashley Robinson tomorrow night from 8 p.m. Ashley offers his spiritual philosophy while answering your questions.
We're back.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, I hope you're enjoying it so far. Yeah, sorry to interrupt there, Ashley, but yeah, I hope you're enjoying this topic. It's good to talk about something different, and yeah, your experiences, please keep them coming.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to go back, because I go back afterwards and just kind of read some of the comments, and it'd be really interesting to see if any of you have been to the same places, experienced the same things. And what kind of happened and how that led to, an investigation maybe that you took part in.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, the sense of like being scared was the adrenaline rush when I was younger, and like watching all those programs that are now been found out. But yeah, I just enjoyed watching them, and my daughter can relate. Just hiding behind the cushion was just the thing you had to do, and just getting scared. It was, yeah, it's weird.
It was really funny, and I just remember like, don't go down the tunnel. And so I'm really frightened, but I'm going to go down just by myself with a torch. It's like, why are you doing that? Don't go down there. But the things that I always found really interesting was the experiments that they left. So like a key that had some chalk around it, and then they put a locked off camera on it, and then they left it and came back to it, because those are the ones I liked watching. Not so much the things being ducked, you know. Yeah.
Oh,
come on in. Come on in.
Richard has a story.
Love story time. Right, story time.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're well. Just a quick story. Many years ago, when I worked in television, we were in a apparently haunted location in Southsea, which is in Portsmouth, in the south coast of England. And we was in this house where a famous lord was assassinated. So we set up all the cameras, and this is in the early days. You're thinking about 20 odd years ago. Show me age now, damn it. Anyway, we set up the cameras, and we had a glass on a piece of paper, and I drew a circle around the glass. And I was the only person who had the keys to be let in and so forth. And it was only the crew. There was no members of the public, it was just us. And all of us were skeptic at the time. We drew around the glass, we left it in the center of the room. I locked the door, no access to get to it whatsoever. We came back on our break time, and the glass actually moved in the room, but the circle was there, it wasn't touched.
Oh,
love that.
And no one could get in there. It's impossible for anybody to be in there because I had the keys.
wow.
So it was on the first floor, by the way, so no one could get it in or out through the windows, because it was an old 1800, 1700 building, listed building.
That's the kind of stuff I love.
I mean, what did you do next? I mean,
no, we just carried on filming. I said, do something else, would you?
Yeah.
And honest truth, what happened was, downstairs in the basement, we had a smash. So we all went down, and there was this piece of glass in sort of the basement where it was all locked up. Yet again, I was the only person with the key, so I had to unlock to get in. No windows, no nothing. And there was a plain piece of glass shattered on the floor.
Wow.
See,
But
I
I've been
love
to
that.
many paranormal investigations, and I'll be very honest, I get very bored. I get very skeptical of the people participating and the people running these events as well. I remember one company who invited us along, and I said, I have all my own paranormal equipment. It's worth hundreds of pounds, infrared cameras and Ouija boards, as you say, Ouija boards. And then we had spirit boxes. We had all sorts of equipment. And a paranormal group who invited me along said, oh, no, don't worry about it. We've got our own equipment. We don't want yours. And I went, why? Mine's all genuine. It's good stuff. It's not cheapy stuff. No, we use our own. And that then made me think, if you've been cheated, why wouldn't you allow me to bring my own gear with me? So I'm very skeptical in these places. I get very bored, to answer your question. So, yeah.
But there's a gauntlet there. You've just thrown a massive gauntlet down to spirit there, Richard, haven't you? To say, right, there's a challenge there. There's a challenge there. See if it can make your jaw drop with some phenomena.
It depends what you see over the years, isn't it? If you've been on paranormal groups, and I've been to so many places, and I get invited, SPtv get invited a lot. And we have to turn a lot of them down because we say, look, okay, we're happy to come along and broadcast, but I really need my expenses paid for. And they go, yeah, but you're free. I went, yeah, the channel's free, but it's still going to cost me money. Why should I pay for it?
Exactly.
Sort of thing. So, yeah.
Wow. From the horse's mouth. That's it. That to me is convincing. That's some nice convincing phenomena there. That's kind of up my alley there, Wendi, and that's up my alley. That is.
Yeah, definitely.
But if anybody wants to see any paranormal or something which is unexplained, go along to the SPtv, Facebook or YouTube, type in Sofa Watch or Polly Harnett, and we filmed a lot of not behind the scenes, but late at night, infrared cameras, and you would see a lot of phenomena that happens within that. You see shadows, you see orbs that fly around, not dust particles or insects. You can see the difference. You would hear voices talking, and there's no one in the room. And it was because it was remote view, so I'd be at home. We would log into the cameras into the studio, and everything's locked up, and you would see it, and there's no one there.
Love
It's
that.
amazing to watch. So yeah.
So that's a link to put up for later then. So if you're watching at home, just make sure you don't watch that by yourself at night time.
I think it's good to have that link where the activity happens, because it must be really time consuming and boring. You know, when these people even do it on the TV, the genuine ones, they must spend hours and hours and hours, and then just waiting for one little bit of evidence, and they've caught it, but probably took about 3 hours, you know? So yeah, amazing to get that link to see it direct.
It is, Ali.
Mr. Stig.
Mr. Stig, that's it.
Ali says, now we know what Mr. Stig of SPtv sounds like. I love that, Mr. Stig.
You thought he sounded like Jake, didn't you, Ali? I know it. I know that's what it was.
I find orbs fascinating. I know there is this misconception it's dust and everything, but there's some, I think it's a Facebook group or something I once belonged to, where you zoom in on those orbs and you can see faces, you can see spirit, and it's that.
Oh, so I've got something for you then. She's
off.
Oh, Nat,
She's
come
off.
back. Come back.
Nat, come back.
So I went to Glastonbury, and you saying about how you can see faces and that in orbs.
Yeah.
There was a lady who she set up like a little art group that was there, and she actually takes pictures of orbs for a living. And then, so this one here is actually an orb, and it's Merlin. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
So that was actually an orb, and she got the face of Merlin actually in it. But like, yeah, she did that for a living. She just goes around and takes maybe to haunted locations and takes pictures of that. So
it is really cool when you take pictures. And I remember my mum telling me a story. She went to the Arthur Findlay College, and they were taking photographs on the old, you know, not like phones now where you can digital manipulate on film. And they were taking photographs of the medium demonstrating with a full auditorium, full room, and then all of the orbs flying around. And it was brilliant. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Crystal, Harold Edmondson, does anyone know what it means to be woken up and feel like an elephant is on your chest and you literally can't breathe? Oh, I wouldn't know how to answer that, actually. Anybody else? I don't feel I'm the person that could answer that one. That just feels like something negative. Natalie or Ashley, what do you feel with that one?
Maybe going through out of body, maybe experience. I think it makes me think of that if you can't move, and I'd like to know what she felt like when she woke up. Could she move her body or anything like that? Because then you're halfway between like the astral projection, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
You're feeling like that heaviness, and they're trying to maybe ground you.
Yeah, it's quite common for people who have kind of sleep paralysis. If you get woken out of a dream state too early and your body's still in the paralysis state, and then you get woken up really fast. It could be that. It could, you know, we have to discount everything, and it's really interesting. It's on the paranormal episode, but you know, we have to discount the rational. You know, and Crystal, whether you've got you know, medication before bedtime, all of that stuff, you know, the physical body will be affected by that. But if it is spirit, then it could be some anxiety when spirit are around you. Could be that. Yeah, it sounds like anxiety. Yeah. So it's probably worthwhile if it is spirit, and I don't know how far along with your spiritual journey you are and with your spirit team working with you. But it would be worthwhile just kind of, if you can, sitting and meditating, sitting quietly. And as Wendi beautifully put, some boundaries maybe. So if it is spirit wanting to get hold of you and wanting to work with you and coming so close to you, they're making you feel a little bit overwhelmed when you're in your dream state. Say, I'd love to work with you. Let me sit quietly in meditation and come to me now, but not when I'm trying to sleep, because I find it really upsetting, really distressing. And put some boundaries in place, because it may be the only time they can get hold of you is when you're in your sleep state.
Yeah, sort of being in control of, okay.
Yeah, but I hope you're okay, Crystal. And
thank you, Crystal, for that.
Well, that was really lovely put, Ashley.
Sleep apnea, yeah, that can be it. Yeah, wakes up. That's it. Beautifully put there, Angela. Well done. Yeah, so the brain wakes up before the body does. But linking it into, and this is a really clumsy segue. So when I was little, I used to have a feeling. So my mum, I said like my mum used to run a physical circle, and this really old cottage we were in had this weird. So my bedroom was actually above, not the lounge, it was above a different part of the house. And so they would go in to do their seance underneath my bedroom. And so I'd be able to hear them kind of chatting away and then singing then the music. And then I'd be able to hear noises like, ooh, and ooh, when obviously the phenomena was happening.
Wow.
And I remember at a certain point, I had this really horrendous patterned wallpaper. It was the 80s, it was fine. Patterned wallpaper. And I was kind of looking at the wallpaper on the wall, and I would see spirit faces coming out of the wallpaper. And then I'd have this feeling of like a real quietening on my body. And then I'd feel like my body was getting massive. And I remember my fingers being like the size of loofahs, like huge, huge, huge. And I just remember floating off. And then I remember kind of just floating off to sleep. But I remember that sensation really clearly going to bed. Because it was obviously I was linking and spirit were coming really close.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how spirit do interact with you when you're about to drift off into sleep state.
I've never heard of loofah fingers, so that was a new one.
That
is a new one.
That's the only way I could describe it, the age I was. Love that.
Oh, Marilyn.
This is Marilyn.
I don't like the word in ghost hunt, and that's true. I don't. They are spirits of past people with a history. I wouldn't want to be hunted, but maybe connected. I agree totally. Yeah.
And it's really interesting, isn't it, that we're coming from it, we're from a spiritual perspective, because we're all people who work and are kind of tapped into that. But for the vast majority of people who are watching it for a thrill on TV, or they maybe buy a ticket to go and wander around a prison, they've got a different perspective. And it's just,
I sometimes have this thought that we do have parallel worlds, and actually spirits and ghosts aren't. We are. You know, are we the spirits? Are they physically doing what they're doing, and we're trying to come through? We just don't know, do we?
Lots we don't know. There's lots we don't know. Not for us to know. Not for us to know. But it is really, really fascinating and interesting.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Well said, Marilyn. I like that. Yeah.
Okay. Casey Tanner, my 1-year-old, spoke and laughed to the same corner of the room since birth. She's speaking to the same spirit all the time. Oh, wow.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, children are very, very sort of connected, and we all are. And then we just grow out of it for some reason. It's hard to say, but if it's the same mannerisms and she's same sort of feeling as she's looking there saying the same things, possibly, is it possibly a loved one, you know, grandma, mum, that's actually around her? And is she happy? I mean, that's the main thing. If she feels quite happy talking and speaking, and like you said, like she's laughing, so there's nothing negative by the sounds of that. So I find that fascinating when children connect.
Yeah. And spirit are so close, you know, they've come into this world so they're so recently here, that I like to think that they've got a little bit of extra support, a little bit of extra care team around them, a little nursery of spirit helpers all around them. Yeah. And it's really interesting how so many young people kind of talk about, so I remember my son did it for a little while, was talking about his other daddy. And I said, oh, that's really interesting. And you kind of have to kind of gently kind of be open and asking questions, because he very clearly remembers something. And you're right, you do grow out of it, because we kind of learn to be rational and don't be stupid. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think we've probably answered this question, explained the difference between spirits and ghosts. I personally think spirits are our loved ones, and ghosts are either residual energy or others.
Well, that different frequencies you've just said, Wendi, that's, you know, a really good possibility.
Yeah. Okay.
Different frequency. We haven't done any readings. We haven't had anyone on Zoom yet. So please do keep liking and sharing. And come, if you're interested in coming on Zoom, telling a story, having a reading, come and join us.
Yeah.
Or turn the lights down. I've got my candle ready for some spooky stories.
Yeah.
I love a good ghost story.
Oh, I do.
Do you not remember when you maybe this is in the time before mobile phones and social media, but you used to go for kind of around your friends' houses and you turn the lights off, put a candle on, and like tell the spooky story of things that had happened to people.
Yeah.
Ah.
Stories.
Late night spooky
yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be. There was all these urban legend as well that went round, and we used to just take turns in secondary school to try and terrify each other absolutely witless. Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'd love to do. I'd love to go around to like the older urban legends and see what's true or not.
Could do that.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Okay.
Super. So yeah, please do let us know if anyone would like a reading. Please do keep sharing and keep sharing your comments, because we're going to keep on picking up some of these comments.
Yeah, and follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow us on TikTok. So
Amazing.
Richard's just going to pop up some more comments.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, okay, the link's
Yeah.
there, I believe, to Zoom.
Yeah.
If you'd like to
And
come on board.
And you get extra points if, like Natalie, you've come prepared and you actually know that we're going to be talking about, and you've gone rifling through your cupboards so you can find some pictures of paranormal stuff you've actually captured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Gwendolyn, back home in Wilder, Kentucky.
Yeah.
There is an old establishment called Bobby Mackey's. I've heard of Bobby Mackey's, and I heard it was haunted. Well, we went there the night before our wedding, and I went to the restroom, which was downstairs, and my friend was with me, and we're laughing and carrying on, and the bathroom door slammed shut and no one else was in there. We looked at each other and laughed, and then heard a voice. We then ran upstairs. That was 44 years ago.
What a fab
Wow.
story. Gwendolyn, it's 44 years ago and you still remember every single detail of that.
Amazing.
Yeah. I love the fact you laughed. I'm sure I'd laugh.
Well, if it was the night before the wedding, perhaps alcohol helped there.
Maybe. I love that.
But yeah, I've heard of Bobby Mackey.
Fab story.
Oh, we have somebody joining us, I believe. Wonderful. But yeah,
Come on
Gwendolyn,
in.
that's an amazing, amazing
We
story.
should have done this at Halloween, really. We're a couple of months early, aren't we? We should have done the spooky Halloween ones.
Yeah. Well, we can revisit.
Love that.
Yeah. So yeah, Maywa, she'll probably say that's not how you pronounce it. It's coming on board. So she's just connecting there. But yeah, keep them coming. Amazing, amazing stories. And please keep sharing. Sharing is caring.
It is. And what it's highlighting to me is just how many people have had paranormal experiences as well. We don't talk about it a lot, because once you get to the point where you are talking to spirit through mediumship and, you know, psychic messages and the rest of it, you don't kind of talk about your paranormal stuff so much.
True.
It's really interesting.
It is. It is. And it links in as well. It's, I mean, like I remember when my dad passed away, and I was getting in the car from the hospital, and I could feel him around me. And again, with the doors, the blooming lock thing going down. But I thought, he's with me. He's locking the doors, keeping me safe. I get that quite a bit. I the doors locking. And it was a case of like, I used to feel, well, things happened in the home. We'd have like, as my daughter knows, we had some jewelry literally drop from the ceiling on the floor.
That's an apport, Wendi.
I it was amazing. I mean, and then I didn't have this knowledge that I have now. But so many things. I remember waking up one morning, and on the pillow at the side of me was my daughter's locket that she'd lost, but it was just the heart. And I went into my daughter's room, and I believe I don't know if she was in the cot still. No, it wouldn't be the cot, but it was like a bed frame thing. And the chain from the locket was perfectly laid at the side of her head. And I mean, if we'd have tossed and turned on the bed, it wouldn't be perfect. And I know it was my dad, and he used to do all these things, find jewelry for us and everything. So that was like the start, I think, of the paranormal thing for me. But then it got a bit scary for my daughter, so I was like, Dad, don't bring us things anymore. We don't want things falling from the ceiling and whatever. But yeah, so it does all link in.
That's
Hello.
lovely.
Who we got? Have we got Maywell? What happened? Oh, she's not able to. Okay, no worries. Okay, we have a comment.
So Samantha has said, I've always been able to connect with the past, but now I'm starting to practice controlling it. Brilliant. Well done, you. Question, since practicing, I've noticed spirits of past come and stand directly in my face, like nose to nose by my mind. Is that normal? Not sure what to expect. Lucky old you, Samantha. That's amazing. Obviously the spirit are very comfortable coming, and you've got a really, really, really strong clairvoyant sense there. Is how you work with your people. So you can just, you're well within your rights, as we said earlier, to say, oh, a bit too much, back up a little bit, and I'll be able to see you more clearly if you're not right nose to nose. But how wonderful. Well done, you.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as normal, Samantha. Everyone works very differently with spirit, and do you know what? It will be different every time you work as well, and it will probably change as you start on your journey with spirit.
It does.
But well done.
Does. I think
I had that actually. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, you don't. Go on. No, you go.
I did my Reiki 3 a couple of weeks ago, and with Reiki 3, it starts working more with like your third eye, doesn't it? In your crown chakra.
Yeah.
And so I was laying down in bed, and I started noticing more that when I'm closing my eyes, that spirit are more behind me, like looking over, but they're upside down. So I've had to turn around and say, like, you need to adjust the settings a bit, because you're like the wrong way.
Oh no.
You're like the wrong way around, because I can see you like look this way, but you need to be more this way.
How bizarre.
That's really funny.
Oh, I've not heard of that before.
It's really funny.
No, all I was going to say was, as you continue, as you develop, you find that things change. You know, I mean, like all the clairs, I've started, what is the one that I've started getting? I've never had clairgustance, which is taste. I've never had that, but all the rest, yes, I can experience them. The one I don't like, clairalience. I remember doing a reading. Oh, it's awful smell. Clairalience is the nose. Awful smell, and I described it, and she understood every word. She understood every word what that smell was. But yeah, I don't think I'd want the taste in one unless it's chocolate or cake. Then
it's really good evidence, though, Wendy, because if you get something, it's really, really, really good evidence. Yeah, and the smelling one as well, because obviously the smell's linked to the really kind of primal part of our brain, and it's unlocked so many memories. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know about you ladies, but I've got my card sat here and I'm itching for a reading. So I'm just itching for somebody to give a reading to. I've been looking forward to it all afternoon.
Oh, bless you. We'll go for it. I think we've got somebody trying to get on.
Oh, Caitlin, you're so close. Caitlin. Yeah. So please do come in. We promise we won't try and frighten you with spooky stories. There's no Ouija boards. This is purely just giving you some readings and some guidance if anyone would like a reading. And don't forget to please keep sharing. This is the second week we've been on, the second show. So we had an amazing response last time. We'd really, really love to get more really people involved. It's fab. Did you watch it, Nat, from home? Oh, you were working, weren't you?
I was working.
Working.
Yeah, and then I've been moving this week, so it's been like non-stop as well. Finally, I waited good few months to try and get my own place, but now I've done it and I can do stuff like this now.
Yeah.
And she's only got Wi-Fi today. How good is that? So
yeah, see, thank you, friends.
It's like it was meant to
be. Ali J's trying to get on.
Hi, Ali J. If you hadn't have had Wi-Fi, what would have been your plan B down to the Costa coffee shop? Talking about paranormal phenomena in the Costa coffee shop.
Penny, I think Penny's still expecting me round hers.
Love that, but don't bring your Ouija board.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine in Costa? No.
Love that,
I do know a lot of mediums that do readings in coffee shops, though.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose because either they can't do it at their own home or the other person, they go to a coffee shop. Yeah.
But I think we've got Ali J trying to come in for a reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Super. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look at your comments. So if you'd like a reading, pop a comment up and we'll see who we're drawn to.
Mhm.
Okay, we're getting some comments through. Oh,
loads of people want readings. Oh.
and Caitlin's saying hello as well. Okay, is there a link? Yes, there is a link, Gwendolyn. Oh, wow. Okay.
So we
Ashley,
just
you
meant to
go
pick.
first. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to shuffle mine as well.
Let's go for Leslie. Oh, let's go for Leslie. Let's go for Leslie. So, yeah, Leslie Lang. Your two little cherubs there I can see on your profile picture. Beautiful. I was drawn to it because of the purple hearts. So thank you for that. Really beautiful. So I'm going to get some cards and let's choose some spooky cards, shall we? Yeah, let's choose some spooky cards.
Oh,
beautiful. Oh my
cards.
goodness. Right. So this is from the Messenger Oracle deck. And this is a card that says, stay strong. And there's a beautiful dragon on that one, which is amazing because obviously we're in the year of the dragon. So that is letting me know that there is an awful amount of power around you, absolute power. So I don't know whether you've been talking to spirit and asking for power. I kind of get the impression that you've been calling out to spirit. But this is a really, really ancient symbol of wisdom. It's an ancient symbol of growth and knowledge and tapping into that higher level awareness. So whatever it is that you're doing, please keep doing it. Please keep yourself grounded. There's also a really strong fire and water element around the dragon as well. I always associate with fire and water. So this is telling me that there's a lot of passion and there's a lot of energy, but there's also a lot of emotion around you as well. So keep calling for that guidance. Please also just be aware of the connection to the solar plexus. So for me, dragons are all about the solar plexus. So if you're familiar with the solar plexus, it's just around your belly button area, really. And that is your seat of your personal power. So if you're feeling tired or depleted, then just have a little bit of awareness around your solar plexus and maybe go for some healing or sit quietly and focus on sending a lot of fire to that area to try and kind of activate it, get it going. But a really beautiful, beautiful dragon around you, real wisdom, real courage, and he definitely seems a wise old soul. So that's my reading for you, Leslie. Thank you. Stay strong.
Well, she's just confirming she's been asking for some help. So
it's around you, Leslie. It's around you, my sweet. It's around.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Ashley. Lovely. Okay, let's have a look.
Who else is that? Spin the wheel.
Wow, spin the wheel. Caroline, Sambi, I'll go with Sambi, please. Sambi on YouTube, thank you. Hi, Sam. Okay, Sam. For some reason, I want to say back to front. Something's back to front, something's the wrong way round. I'm just getting that before I pick the card up. You've got a strong energy, Sam. I can feel it. You've got a really, really strong energy. Okay. I was going to go for a card, but I have got somebody coming in. I feel it feels fatherly, grandfatherly energy. I want to say that he didn't mince his words. He was quite direct in his speaking, but I've got a real sense of pride for you from him. Okay, so it feels like he's looking out for you. So I don't know if at the moment you're going through a bit of a challenging time and he's just around. Okay, something about the clock as well and being shown a clock. It could be that he collected clocks like a grandfather clock. Hi, Sam. or something about a clock. Okay, so I don't know if that makes sense to you, Sam. Okay, he's giving me this impression of my stomach feels a little bit tender. So he may have passed with something with a tender stomach, or it may be something that you sort of suffer with yourself, but it's giving me that tenderness. Okay, he's wanted to say you're doing the right thing. This feels like you're on the right track. But there is something, like I said at the beginning, that just needs to be flipped around. I don't know if you understand that bit. Something is just needed to be flipped around. Okay, I'm going to draw you a card, Sam. Okay, because it's gone a little bit quiet on me now. He does like what you've done with the place. Okay, he likes what you've done with the place. So I've got maintain childlike spirits. So perhaps there's a need for you to sort of have some fun. Perhaps things in life. Oh, Sam, I am so sorry. Dad passed at the start of February. Okay, do we feel this is Dad? Was he quite direct with what he says? It feels like he was quite a direct person. He didn't sort of like hold back or mince his words. He would just say what he wanted to say. But perhaps there is a time, if you can, obviously you're grieving at the moment, just to sort of relax and just try and link into some childhood memories, you know, because memories are precious, and Dad wouldn't want you to be too serious. But yeah, I got the clock, the old clock, if the clock means anything to you. I can see it. It's a bit like a grandfather clock or grandmother clock, a dark brown clock surround, if that means something to you. But he's pleased with what you've done to the place, he says. So I'm going to leave his love with you, Sam, and if you can, just remember those wonderful childhood memories, because I feel that's why he's come through today, and it links in with the card. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Love, Sam.
Richard, do you mind if I actually just give out some information and see if anyone can take any information? Okay, so earlier on today, while I was waiting for the internet man actually to turn up, I was asking like, what am I going to talk about? What do I need to talk about this evening? And I had some stuff coming through that we're talking about. Obviously, we were talking about frequencies and things like that earlier. And I feel like, I don't know if it's maybe on here, maybe someone can take this information, or maybe it's on my other group, but I feel like there's somebody who might be here at the moment who feels like it is time maybe to get up and get out a bit more that they want to, but I feel like they're just struggling wanting to get out. And maybe they're suffering from maybe some social anxiety or anything at the moment. I got as well that there's got to be some kind of, I know it's really interesting, we were talking about actually that orb earlier, and it was in the shape of Merlin, and I feel like Merlin, there's some connection with Merlin, I think, somewhere as well. So I don't know if there's anyone that can take any of that information that's coming through. I just feel like I need to talk to them about maybe they need to learn more, or they feel like they need to learn more about protecting their energy a bit more when they want to go out. So I don't know if there's anyone that can take anything like that, or works closely maybe with something to do with Egypt or interested in Egypt.
There you go.
Tara's saying that's
Okay. Are you suffering with the moment of like social anxiety? Like, I think we've all gone through a lot of stage, haven't we, with like our spiritual like awakening, and then we kind of like just we go into ourselves, don't we? We just want to sit in our home, and we just think, oh, I really do want to get out there. I want to do some stuff, but it's just the thought, isn't it, about being around like other people's energy? It kind of puts us off, doesn't it, as well sometimes, especially when you don't know how to protect yourself sometimes. Does that make sense? So I don't know how to say your name. Is it Nectaria?
Tara.
Does that make sense? Do you have like any connection maybe with Merlin, or are you interested in obviously the Merlin and the magic side of things, and feel like you need to protect your energy a bit more? So so you got a connection with Merlin. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out just a little bit. So what they were saying was, actually, I didn't even know that. I know there was such a thing as like a cloak of protection. When you want to go out, you can put over a cloak of protection. But they were saying to me, actually, Merlin is really important, and I didn't realise that actually there is such a thing known as like the Merlin cloak of protection. But I don't know, maybe that's like a stronger version. So I had a look actually before I came on here. I just had a quick look at a YouTube video, and there is a YouTube video regarding this. So maybe that's something, maybe you both need to do this. Have a look into more the Merlin cloak of protection. But I have to be really honest that when you do a cloak of protection, there's certain times that you shouldn't do it. Because as you know, like obviously the cloak of protection is not should be done when you're driving, because you are invisible to like the energies. And sometimes I've done it as well before, that you walk up to people don't see you. You know, it depends how strong actually your cloak of protection is. But I feel like if you start working with more protective energies like that, then that might be able to help you and heal you to be able to go out in public maybe a bit more. I don't know if that's a plastic protection on my door.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh that's beautiful. Yeah, see, I love Egypt. I'm so connected to it. I've actually got my little Anubis statue and that here, and so I don't know, maybe Marie, do you like your connection obviously with Egypt as well? Do you see like the visions of like do you have anything like that? Because when you're out in other people's frequencies and that as well, like people, when we talk about frequencies, people talk about oh, we can't be around that, we need to stay away from that kind of frequency. But what we don't realize that when we disconnect from certain people in our lives, it's because they're on like a different frequency. And that's when we say, obviously, you've got to send these people some love and kindness, so then they can raise their frequency. So yet again, you can just carry on meeting each other. You know, does that make sense? I want to start with a spy by past lives. Oh, so yeah, that is beautiful. But really, Marie, I think maybe this message might be for you. But yeah, really have a look into like that may help. I don't know. Do you have trouble going out as well, then, Marie?
I think she's
Said she did.
Marilyn.
Yeah, so yeah, Marilyn, sorry. But yeah, so maybe have a look into the Merlin cloak of protection, because that is a bit stronger. But there is a video on YouTube. I don't know, maybe Richard can post it later in the comments if I send it to you, Richard. But there is a video, and it explains obviously the things that you should do with the cloak of protection, but it also talks about as well that the things that you shouldn't do with the cloak of protection. And like I said, like being careful when you walk across the street, you know, or when you're driving, you shouldn't use it, stuff like that. But it also, I didn't realize as well, but it also works well with obviously if you've got any children, you can work with the cloak of protection like that, especially if they're going through any troubles with like bullying at school, you know. But again, don't use the cloak again if you know for a fact they're going to be out walking about in the streets and things like that. So just to be careful. So really look at the video, and it tells you pros and cons of it and what you can use then to stay safe. But I really hope that makes sense to you. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, we've just got warmed up. We could have talked all night about spooky stuff. That was lovely. Yeah, really, really nice.
Hope everybody's enjoyed it. I know I have.
Yeah, so please do keep yeah. Oh well, of course, and that's your first show. That's it. You're in now.
Marilyn's saying she suffers from PTSD and she gets fatigued when she goes in public. Makes sense. She has a deck of oracle cards and Merlin popped out so many times.
Oh, see, Merlin is so great to work with. When I suffered, actually, I'm still obviously getting counselling and stuff like that with PTSD, but when I started going through my journey in 2020, Merlin just kept popping up so many times. So he is a great help to work with. He is amazing to work with. So yeah, definitely meant for you. Beautiful.
Oh, I wish you well on your journey, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Oh, thank you, Lindsay.
It's really lovely. I love being with you ladies. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Leslie, wow, that was fantastic. Lovely.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Nicola.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully, if Richard will have us.
back in 2 weeks. Please do drop
thanks,
your comments.
Terry.
We'll have that cup of tea now, Terry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need it now.
Lovely. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
Like, new show tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in for that one. So thank you ever so much for coming and being with us and sharing your spooky stories.
Brilliant.
I
Really
loved
enjoyed
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Lots of love
Bye.
and light to you all. See you later.
Bye.